I'm Karen Fuentes at Hazel Acres in Silvana, Washington, near Arlington. And today we are making something scrumptious here at the farm. Our May cooking demo is blueberry key lime tart. And it is a throwback recipe. I made it in 2018 and it's delicious. I do know a few people that have made it over the years. They make it on Easter, so it's kind of fun. But it's so good. There's no video on there. There's no picture of the delicious recipe. And I thought, hey, we need this. Might be perfect for Father's Day now since we just missed Mother's Day. It is so good and it's pretty easy. It's just a 3-step process. And I have already prepared a crust that we will be filling. I have prepared a crust with the key lime filling that we will be topping. And then also got an empty tart pan where we'll make the crust. So I have 2 of these 9-inch tart pans. You don't have to use, it's a removable bottom. It pops right out and it's easy to use. But if you don't have one of those, you do not need to go out, run out and invest in one of those. You can do it in a pie plate. Every time I make it in this, I think, that looks too small. It doesn't look like it'll hold all the goodies. But a 9-inch tart pan is exactly right. All right. Because the topping will take a little bit to cook on my beautiful butane camp stove, I think I'm going to start with the blueberry topping first. And so we'll walk that, get that cooking. And in there, what you are going to put together is the blueberries will be in this, but they will, there are a couple chairs right back there, you two. But they will be added as we go. So, I'm going to tell you, this is a 1/2 cup of water, and then maybe it's kind of nice to just stir in the tablespoon of cornstarch that goes in there while it's still a little cool. Combine that. That's your tablespoon. And then we have a pinch of salt. I'm just using my fun shaker. There's my pinch. A tablespoon, or a teaspoon of key lime juice. I'm going to bring out the bottle to show you that, but I will tell you about it. And then a tablespoon, or 3 tablespoons of just regular sugar. Now, you stir that till it's sort of combined and sugar melts, right, in there. And then your total number of blueberries that you're using for this, and I'm using frozen. Oh, you are? I'm using frozen. I love to use frozen blueberries. I have lots of frozen blueberries at the farm right now. And I'm going to put in 3/4 cup of blueberries. I like to use Rika variety. That's our sweet tart variety when I'm making pies, sauces, crisps, any of those things, because you're adding sugar. And if you use something like Draper in a pie or in these, that's all sweet, you would just be sweet and sweet. So I like to get the little zing blueberry flavor there. Now this breaks down pretty fast. We want to get that once the blueberries are in there to boiling. And you don't have to thaw them. They cook very fast on this high heat. All right, so this is starting to bubble. And I was telling you there's 2.5 cups of berries there. You take 3/4 of that, cook it with this. And I wrote that on your recipe, and it will be on the website when that's posted. And the rest ends up being 1 3/4. Do my math. And oh, that's nice. It's bubble, bubble, bubble. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. And that is in another bowl here. Pour that over. And then I'll tell you about the difference. So pour that over your 1 3/4. I use my spatula to get every last drop. And here's the story. It says on your recipe to let that cool. How long? Somebody tell me, is it Rob?
5 minutes.
5 minutes before you put it on there. That's fine. It's not totally necessary when you're doing the frozen, because when you mix it in, it's cooling fast, okay? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anything to let that cool. All right. If you were using the fresh, then you might need to take a little bit more time for it to cool. So you're not just melting your tart when you pour it on. But the reason they divided the berries is to have them kind of mixed in the sauce. And you could cook them down a little bit longer if you want them to break down a bit. And then you have sort of a nice whole berry, whole looking berry on top. So we have that is prepared. And we'll go back and make our crust. Okay, you can tell from this that I've pressed it up a little bit along the sides. When you're baking, you've arranged for cooking. Sometimes I get that little edge a little crispy, so you watch it. But all right, so here comes our crust. 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Graham cracker crumbs can be created by you in the food processor with graham crackers if you want, or they do have them already prepared in the store if you wanted to hustle through that. Simon, you might find a couple more shares. Oh, you got it. All right. So that's 1.5 cups of the graham cracker crumbs, 3 tablespoons of sugar, just regular white sugar, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. You can leave that out if you want, because really I'm using salted butter, but you could just use unsalted and put in that little bit. It's a little sweet, salty kind of flavor for this. Stir those together so they're all nicely combined, just with a fork, and then add your 5 tablespoons of melted butter. And I did that. It stayed nice and melted before we started. And maybe many of you have made a graham cracker crust before, and this might be the recipe. I'm not sure. I haven't made a lot of graham cracker crusts, but it comes together nice and easily. So I'm using my fork still. You don't have to have any mixer for this, but you do have the stovetop portion and the oven portion. So today I was thinking we could have done our cooking demo outside in the picnic shed. It's so toasty warm out there. I would have been really warm. But we will be next month probably trying to do it out in the picnic shed in June, and then July, August, and sometimes September we have it outside during fresh blueberry season. Next month, I'm not going to tell you when it is, but I will be making the summer recipe card recipe. I just found it this weekend when I made it for Mother's Day, so I'm pretty excited. So I've been thinking and looking all winter long for my summer recipe card. And if you're new to the farm today here, I have some of the past recipe cards here.
Oh, you do?
And so I've got a little collection of those, and it's kind of fun to hand those out to folks. That is combined, and then you just pour it into the tart pan or your pie pan, if that's what you're using. It's totally fine. Get all the goodies as much as I can. And then if you can use a little spatula or the back of a spoon or your hand, press that in there, spread it out kind of evenly, and I just push some to the side just to try and gather a little bit. It's a very short side, so if you were making it in a pie pan, you might want to go up a little further on the side or just leave it down below. One nice thing about this tart pan is you can slide it right off and put it onto a plate to display, and then you don't have to cut your tart pan with a sharp knife. So it slides off there nice and easily. And some of you might enjoy making a tart, so you might have pans already on hand in your pantry. But it's kind of, I wonder if it's a frivolous thing. You always see them at like garage sales and thrift stores and things. People have thought, I want a tart pan, but I kind of use it a lot with this, and it's fun to have it be a little fancier. But it's an option, that's all. And then I press it out with my spatula a little bit in the bottom, but I do find that it's kind of easier to just use your hand and go around the edge and lightly press it. But once you have that delicious key lime filling in there, you are going to have it soak in and hold together quite well. All right. So that is ready, and then you put it in a 350-degree oven for 12, what does it say?
10 to 12.
10 to 12 minutes. So it happens very fast, and it does vary by oven. So start with the 10, check it. I might have let mine earlier go a little long because I thought, I smell burning graham cracker crumbs. I think I caught it in time, but this oven is a lot hotter than the oven that I have in the house. So I went full 20 minutes in the house. So that would go into the oven, 350 degrees, for 10 to 12 minutes. When you take it out, like I have this prepared one, then you turn your oven down to 325 because you will cook the filling at a lower temperature. Okay? So we were going to prepare the filling to put in that beauty. Now, looking for my filling. I have 3 farm fresh egg yolks here, and we have a lot of eggs available today. They're in that refrigerator for you all if you want. Simon will help you. The chickens are just happy. All right, and then we have our sweetened condensed milk, just 1 can. That's nice. It kind of makes me crazy when a recipe calls for part of a can of sweetened condensed milk. Then you got the rest. And you're like, what could I put it on? You know, it's kind of rich. So anyway, this recipe though calls for the whole can. So we'll put that in there. So that's your sugar portion for the filling. And then it's countered with the Tart key lime juice. And key lime is a variety of lime. And I don't know if you see them in the stores here. They grow like in Florida or something, don't they? But there is in the baking aisle a bottle of key lime juice. And so that is what I use for the key lime tart or anything else that calls for key lime. Key lime ice cream, I've made that. It's delicious. Oh, wow. All right, so then we've got our 3rd cup of the key lime juice. Put those in there. And I zested regular limes. If you find key limes, that's great. But 2 teaspoons of that, and you can see my limes here, probably that you can smell it here. I've got a nice sharp zester that I just found somewhere. I don't know if this was at the thrift store. It's very sharp, but if you haven't zested a fruit before, you know, I just do short strokes to get nice little short bits in there. And I like to zest the whole thing like into a bowl, you know, and then gather it up when I need. But for this one, I can tell you, it's 2 medium limes, so you could just zest it right into this bowl here and zest both of those. So that's easy if you want to put that in your notes. And then a whisk works great for this. Did I get all the ingredients for that one? Yes, I did. That comes together with the sweet condensed milk and the juice, our yolks. It's a beautiful color. That reminds me, I whipped some whipping cream to go on top of this. I like a nice vanilla flavor. It would be nicer if I had a white vanilla sometimes or something like that. But this one I made quite a bit, and so anyway, you'll see what it's like. Well, comes together fast. It's ready to go, and it's ready to go in our cooked and prepared tart pan of graham crackers. So that pours right in, nice and easy. Lots of nice lime zest in there. And we'll have one more step completed. All right, there were a couple things I wanted to tell you about. I told you about the eggs. In June, also, we will have available, and if you're interested, let me know, some beef shares. We grow grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and so we have some of that available, and we can talk afterwards if you are interested, or somebody online can send me a message. And we have that a few times a year, which is something that you can check on. One big deal happening this summer, as I spread this out, I just fill this in, and one big deal happening this summer is we're having a change in our hours, in our fresh berry hours. We are going to be open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. We are not going to be open on Sundays for my mental health. Yeah, so please forgive me, everyone. I know that it's a day when people like to come out and take blueberries, but it was a short day anyway before, so we're going to try this, and my mental health hopes that it works out well. So, all right, so that's spread around. And you can see what that looks like, just nice in there. That goes in the 325 degree oven. You lowered it for how many minutes? 18 to 20 minutes. So of course, checking, but it's just until set. So that range covers it just fine. So now we have our finished and cooked tart right here, ready for our topping. When you are putting the topping on, that we already made, I kind of like to just kind of dollop it around so it's spread out pretty evenly. If you want a little less of the blueberries, you can put less in the recipe. If you want more, you can heap it up deliciously. So, to get that in there, we're going to scooch it out a little bit more. And it is gorgeous. That's got a little bit, remember, of that key lime juice in it too. A little bit more.
Are you going to have this tonight?
Well, certainly. I've got it a little bit lately as I was remembering how to make it. You gotta have a refresher. All right, so spread those out on top, and then you have a choice on how you decorate it. You've got whipped cream. Already I whipped it. I did extra because we'll be making this again tonight, but you probably are used to fixing that yourself. So I could opt to put whipped cream all over the top, or I could, because it will be cut into pieces. Oh, I'm going to show off.
Oh, you're
Star Wars holiday this month. May the 4th be with you. I better whip my cream in my R2D2.
You see it on the video? Oh, that's funny.
We're still celebrating, even though May the 4th is past. But I'm going to move this here out of the way. I wanted to remember to show off. That's from Guatemala, right, son? My table runner today, beautiful, came from Guatemala. My son brought me. So that was festive, and blue and green, my two favorite colors. And you could do it, I'm going to do it like this today. Like big dollops around it. If you were going to cut it into big pieces. But it looks pretty this way with kind of an odd number of blobs on it. And that is how you make blueberry key lime tart. Yay.